All right, so that's the zone I got, 60 to 62. Here's 5.18, not too bad. All right, so if it moves out of here, I go long immediately on Izzy Trades, 68. I can put on 9.
S&P iceberg by ES 708 contracts.
That's what I'm going to do here.
Stock sell NQ 207
Yeah,
contracts.
you got to slug it in Q too. So I'm just going to make this bigger, this came in a couple minutes later, but I'm just going to make this one bigger zone. The bottom doesn't, the top's the same. So I'm going to think, yeah, because this is plateauing. So I'm going to get in at that. Hold on. Yes, don't be trading like NASDAQ on me. 68. I'm going long, Izzy. All right, that's working. So this is where we're going to get a little more exact with this. I just don't want to confuse people. You want to draw it and include that, that's fine. But this was actually, the ice did not, this was the buy iceberg. And then it started to subside, right? So this really wasn't part of
Result is
buy
official.
icebergs.
So
So
the second race, number
the
1,
original
Sweet Mother Mary, now ridden by
high is where
Umberto
I'm keeping
Rispa.
that zone. I'm going to bring the zone down to there, where the second batch of salt buy ice came in, right there. Right,
Now
part
entering
of
the
that.
winner's circle, number 4, Lottery Pick.
That's a big difference. This is a 2.25 point difference, which I'm, I guess technically I've been drawing the zones wrong for years, but this, this continues until the minute mark. Was this spiked here? This was the high of it. Was this part of this? No, that's the one that I learned. If you can go back and watch that bookmap webinar in May that we did with them. So my old way, I would draw it up to there. If you want to keep drawing it like that, that's fine. They seem to work perfect. I mean, that's just, they've always worked, but you can just make it more exact where you're not risking as much as well. So that's what triggered it. So see these swipes, that triggered the spike. So technically this move up wasn't even part of that because that's when this started to plateau. I know it's confusing, especially if you're first learning this stuff. So you want to be safe, just draw every price in this spike. But I'm keeping the high of that zone based on that prior iceberg too. If you guys don't understand what I'm saying, just put it in. I'll try to explain it. But like I said, after what I really got into that bookmap video or webinar the other day because I got to explain it correctly on my course too. But it can get confusing because you can also be sitting here like watching the plateaus. You're like, oh yeah, okay, that wasn't part of it. And then you see one of these. And you're like, oh, well, what do I do now? And then you spend, 10 minutes trying to draw the damn zone, right? All right, so I'll take longs. I'll take an Izzy long, but if this gets below here, I'm going to take bar short. See if there's liquidity down there. So nothing goes on now. There's just icebergs flying all over the place. I don't see any liquidity below here. I guess you could trade to this stuff here, but it's not real heavy. So I probably wouldn't put a lit trade on there. What part didn't you, were you trying to understand, Madam Chisel? The whole thing about the zone, or what are you referring to? So what I was saying is, like I said, it took me a long time to wrap my mind around this, right? So we've always just said, okay, here it is, boom, move on. So after that webinar, I really started to look at it and think about it.
Sells ES 202 contracts.
Go a second. So if this is not, first of all, I have this at a minute, right? So it's going to draw until the minute on my clock. If you have it on sliding, it draws from a minute, and this is going to be more confusing. If you have it on sliding, it draws from the minute of when it started. So we'll watch the difference here. Let's see. All right. So now that's drawing. See how it kept going? Well, it just kept drawing for the minute from when it started. So this was the swipe that triggered this ice. Nothing else really happened here. This just kept going on, but this is where it could get confusing. A lot of times it would just look like this. You're like, okay, I know that's not part of it. It was that. This is just going to continue for a minute from when I started on the sliding mode, right? But this is where it gets confusing because you're like, okay, yeah, it's plateauing, and then there is a spike here. This, this probably wasn't a ton, but the more ice did come in is what I'm saying. So you can really go down a rabbit hole trying to figure out where the hell to draw the zones. This is only 50, right? The max was 705, and then it dissipated. That means probably still ice was coming in because it's a net type of look. But then it popped back up to 680. So what I'm saying, so let's not look at sliding mode. Let's look at this mode. It'll be easier in understanding. I still think this is accurate zone that I have drawn. But so in this case, this is where the actual ice was, right? There to there. Then it continues on till the minute ends, right there. So is that really icebergs, or is that just a continuation? Well, if it's just plateauing or going down, it's not icebergs, right? It's just a continuation. There's going to be times, though, where it goes like this and then like that, and more icebergs came in, and then you do have to include that in the zone, right? But in this case, this is what triggered the icebergs, which makes sense. And this also makes sense. You wouldn't be seeing buy ice on buying because ice is triggering on selling, right? The buy ice is triggering on the selling. So this isn't actually part of it. And that makes sense because then this just kind of plateaued till the minute was over. So I don't need to incorporate. So actually, if I was drawing this zone, remember I combined it with the prior ice. I'm just drawing this iceberg here. I would probably do it like this. Does that make sense? This does not get included because this is just the continuation because I have it set for a minute. You can set it for lesser time. I've been playing with this too, but it's like, then you're missing out on like threshold events too. Like say I put it at a second. Let's see what that looks like. There you go. See what I'm saying? But now it's only showing 334. It's not incorporating. You're not seeing those other second blips that made it the threshold event. So this is where it gets tricky. And what I asked them on the webinar, if you want to watch it again, do it at your own risk. So this one was actually, there was one here. This is at 10 seconds. So you could, so this is what this was doing, right? So if I have it at 1 second, but then if the lower you have it, then you got to sit here like this. Okay, yeah, that was 146, 174, that's 350, and then, oh yeah, 334. Okay, we got almost threshold. I mean, you're going to drive yourself crazy. You can put it at 10, it looks a little better. Okay, well now we got 366 and 334. Then you put it at a minute. Then it looks like one big, and this is how I want to read it. Just be careful incorporating prices that weren't part of it. I'm hoping I'm not confusing you. You're probably very confused. I was very confused, but it's a little more clear now. Why did I pick 4360? Well, the reason I did that is because of this prior one. Remember I said I was combining the two? That was the top of this one. And actually, that was probably wrong too. No, that was right. See, because it popped up to there. They were selling it. That's what triggered the buy ice. I don't know why it's going up as they're selling it, but no, I know it's going up because they're selling it and it's triggering the buy ice and it's pushing it up. But I incorporated this zone as well. Just play with it. I mean, you can just make these zones more exact. That's what I'm saying. We'll keep going over it every day because I'm learning it as well. I don't understand why they just can't, like with market pulsing, where it spikes and they're actually going to have an area where it's shaded. Why can't you just show me where the ice was? Why do I have to have a time component involved in it? Well, just show me where the damn iceberg was. I asked that on the webinar. Watch the webinar. I'll show it to you. I'm telling you. Prepare to spend all weekend it's like you're solving a complex puzzle trying to understand what the hell it's talking about. It's this one here. It's more towards the end. where's it at? Right here, May 3rd. I think that was it. I gotta get better at putting the topics covered in these two. Sorry guys, it's just I got so much going on. Once I get these damn courses done, then I can start to hone in. So hopefully you guys are thoroughly confused, but watch the video and then you'll be more confused. Your ES on the spreadsheet is 62 to 62. Oh, yeah, I think that's not right. 4358. Thank you. All right, so in the meantime, this has just been sitting here. So I will take the Izzy Long out of here. Remember, keep updating your ATR so you have the correct price. So right now it had me at 68. Now it's at 5.35. Now I'm at 68 quarter. Put on. Now I can only put on 6. I'll put on 6. I'm not going to round up on that one. 68 quarter. Other than that, I will short this barf-wise. If this moves below here, ATR retest failure. And I'll put out a lick too. I guess this is good enough. So I put a barf and a lick on to the short side, depending. Again, if it gets an ATR out of here, then shorts are canceled. If it gets an ATR below here, then my long is canceled. That's how I trade it. If you had to choose between studying iceberg webinar or studying market pulse, I would do iceberg. Iceberg is the driver of my trading, right? Market pulse will be a part of it, and it's way more short term. This is the foundation of my trading, so I would study that. You're going to go down a rabbit hole, and it's, I'm telling you, I just couldn't wrap my mind around it. And actually, somebody in the room, it was a while ago, a couple months ago, was like, "Are you sure you're drawing this right?" And I'm like, then I started looking at it, and that's why we have the webinar with them. But this stuff, because I didn't really understand reset mode as far as the exact minute, and this is why when you guys say, "Oh, I got 238 icebergs," and then I say, "Well, mine only shows 174." Well, the main reason, very likely, and they've been saying this forever, is our clocks are off. If it's just off by a couple of seconds, that could be a big difference, right? So when my clock hits 7:04, my ice ends for my total. Your clock may be 3 seconds later for your 7:04 or 9:04, whatever time zone you're in, and it would incorporate whatever ice kept coming in. So that's why there's been discrepancies if you're on reset.
On stock by ZB, 1329 contracts.
Uh-oh. That's interesting. Whopper bond stops. It's all about continuing to learn and adjust, and and they're going to keep coming out with stuff, and it's just it is what it is. Like, I want everything to be just solid to black and white, and that this is what we're doing. But if I'm reading something wrong, or if stuff changes, you got to adapt. Right? You don't just sit there and keep doing the same thing if it's not. I want accurate areas, and it goes for anything in trading. So this is a good example here, right? This was the stop run right here. This continues for the 10 seconds. So any price went up or down, I would not incorporate. So let's just look at this, right? So this is the spike. You can see it on stops are easier because you get the on chart. You get the on chart with the ice too, but stops are easier because you get swipes and you get the red line. So that's how I would draw that. Let's see if the price moved out of here. It didn't matter in this case. It doesn't look like it. No, it didn't matter. But here, watch. So if I go like this, so I had my stop set to, this is a great example like this. This will help you wrap your mind around a little better probably. So I've had
my iceberg by ZM, 159 contracts.
If I have my stops for 3 minutes, now watch. Do you see? It's continues to go. Are these part of that stop run? No. But it's just going to draw the line. It initiated here. It's going to keep drawing it for 3 minutes. So if this market does that, is that part of those stop runs? No. So hopefully that'll help you understand it a little better. Actually, I should use that example in the course too. like, I know we have trading is hard enough, but we want to get these zones correct. Like I said, where you run into issues doing that, where you're like, okay, that's it. All right, I'm cutting that off. And then it goes like, the stop run goes like that. And then another batch comes in and then it spikes again. Then you're like, okay, well, I got to incorporate that spike. See what I'm saying? So we'll keep going over it. All right, I got to keep hammering it in my head too, but we want accurate zones, 119.15 and 119.40. If we don't have accurate zones, then none of this stuff means anything, right? The ATR and, I mean, we're talking exact ticks many times, as you guys have seen. I don't even want to know how many trades I have lost because I haven't had my zones drawn properly. That I don't even want to know. 19, 15, and